Okay, folks, we're back. Now we've got the eyes put in. Okay, that looks alright. And what we need to do next is the mouth area. And I kind of started this and I wanted to be able to show you this a little bit better. What we have here is actually there's very little of a nose, if any. It's really all, I don't see a little black nose on them when I look on a real picture. But what we did is made a little thing here, a line here and a line here, and I cut that out. So what I did was I cut it down this way. This is the first cuts I did, and then I cut this portion out. Okay, so that's the lower lip kind of right there, and then I put a little cross here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little deeper. Alright, let me go a little deeper. Because this is really kind of like chunky and rounded there. I try to make it a little more realistic than just the form of the chipmunk. And then I notice a lot of them, they have a little mouth here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to make a little U shape right here. Okay? Represent his mouth. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to, so let's see if we can get that out of there for a second. Just bear with me here so I can see it. Perfect. Okay, a little mouth opening there, just like he's eating. Alright, and then what I'll do is I'm just going to make a, see the tough part about this piece, folks, we're on the end grain here. Alright, and it makes it a little more tougher. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scoop this out just a little bit, just round it out a little bit to give it a little bit of a lip there, and that'll be pink later on. When I looked at some real pictures of them, they're usually chewing or trying to shove these nuts, you know, food in his mouth. Alright, so we're going to tuck this out. We're going to get rid of all that bandsaw marks there on the bottom. So, alright. A little bit for his nose there. His nose is not really a nose, it's just a little, I'm just going to make that a little more distinct there, just like so. I got to be mindful how this grain is running. A little different when you're working on the end grain here. Alright, and the same thing over here. I'm going to put a little slice up. I'm going to cut this out. Kind of have that tucked underneath there. Alright, exactly like that. Alright. In fact, I might make that just a tad bigger. You and I have to think how this grain is running once in a while. Alright, let me just do something back here to clean this up a little bit. There's definitely a... okay, so that's his mouth. And his nose gets kind of rounded up a little bit. We're just going to round this up a little bit more here. Alright, so it's kind of a soft look to, a soft flow from his mouth to his bottom part of his cheek there, and his mouth. Let me put my glasses on so I can see this a little better. Not always easy to see it. just want to take out one little spot here. Alright, so that's how his mouth will go, alright? And his nose. So his face is pretty well done. What I'm going to end up doing here, folks, is I'm going to go ahead and start with his hands and the nut portion here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a U shape, but we have to be mindful where his hands are. So we're just going to cut this out straight across, just like so, because their hands kind of go in a little bit of a, if I can show you here, they kind of go to a point like this. Okay, there's not like a handout like this, go spread out. They're kind of little wiry things at the end of his arm. So that's what we're going to do next. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this up, okay, and cut this down a little bit. We're going to do both sides. I'll work those arms down a little bit more. Alright, we're just going to keep going back and forth here until we get the right size in the front. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to chop this down to about where you see those lines. Okay, folks, we'll be right back.